What's the deal with Pantheon's bread? While you may think that this is all just part of an in-game joke, in reality, the bread is part of his canon story. But that wasn't always the case. Many years ago, when Pantheon was still walking in his diapers, quite literally, because this is what he looked like. Because his entire character was built around the Spartan stereotype, Riot filled his emotes full of references to the 300. This included talking about getting kicked into a well, or saying lines directly from the movie, which included this.
My profession! You know, now that I think of it, I've always wanted to be a baker.
Now this used to be just an innocent joke that would throw the players off. But over time, the writers took this idea of Pantheon wanting to be a baker and they made it canon, just in the most hilarious way possible. You see, in the stories that followed the Ruination, which was an event where Viego possessed different champions, well, one of these champions who got dominated by Viego was also Pantheon, though Pantheon already had quite a history of getting dominated. At the beginning, he was simply known as Atreus, a mortal warrior of the Rakor who ascended Mount Targon, which is where the Celestial known as War used his body as a vessel, which is how the mortal Atreus became Pantheon, with Pantheon being the aspect of war. Later, when the Celestials were on a cleanup duty to remove the Darkin from Runeterra, Pantheon, still being dominated by war, fought Atrox. Of course, he lost that battle after Atrox stabbed his chest. This is why Pantheon has the massive scar across his body. But somehow, Atrox was so powerful he was able to kill the Celestial inside Atreus, just completely wiping it from the stars, while Atreus himself survived. After this, Atreus regained control over his own body and he realized the Celestials kinda suck. They just use mortals as their puppets. And so Atreus continues to live and fight for the mortals of Mount Targon. That was until the Ruination happened, where Viego dominated Atreus himself. And after this event was over, Atreus actually got heavily mentally scarred. He couldn't accept another powerful entity used his body as a puppet to do horrible things. And so in the story called In Battle Broken, which happened after Viego got banished, Pantheon, once again being just Atreus, struggling with deep depression, visited an old friend. It was the wife of his fallen brother-in-arms. There he entered her house and only found a small girl inside, who told Atreus to mind the bread. And so Atreus immediately burned the entire batch and he smoked out the entire house. When the wife returned, she cleaned up the mess and she told him, "I told you the last time you were here, you will never be a baker. Just give up." And so yes, canonically, Pantheon is a horrible baker, which is why, in the new joke, he asks the Celestials to bake it for him.
I call upon the stars to bake my bountiful bread.